Welcome, Stephanie and Deidre, right? All
Yep.
right. Well, I just want to say I'm excited to chat with you both as we have the premiere of season 2 of Hoarder House Flippers, which actually airs tonight on Wednesdays at 9 p.m. on HGTV Canada and Stack TV. So my first question for you guys is, what drew you both to the world of house flipping, especially taking on such challenging properties that we kind of see featured on Hoarder House Flippers. Did you ever hesitate before tackling any of the properties?
I think it sort of started out of necessity, really. So we started doing this when we were quite young. And as you can imagine, you don't have a huge budget. So we were like, okay, we only have X number of dollars. Nobody else wants this house. We can get it super cheap. Let's just see what happens. And then it's almost like you get used to it. And then you get addicted to the challenge of being like, can we make this good? And then in the end, you're like, okay. And then people are super happy, and it sort of started that way.
The transformation is always huge and it's so satisfying. And people will see on the show that there's multiple reveals and just going through that process it's amazing. And everybody's going to see how incredible it is tonight.
Yeah, no, I'm excited for everyone to see it. I think it'll pull a lot of fun reactions. So I'm kind of curious, how has working together on the show changed, or let's say strengthened your dynamics as friends, business partners, and just entrepreneurs?
Great question. We have always worked really closely together. Deidre and I are on the phone, probably 30 times a day, just checking in about what's happening in our business, what's happening with our construction projects. So when we were doing the show, it was a little bit challenging because we were still operating our full-time real estate business. And, between shots and, shooting with the crew, we'd be like, okay, we've got to get an email. But we really just rely on each other a lot for making sure that everything gets done. I think that maybe what the future might hold for us is kind of growing our team and expanding a little bit. That's kind of what we realized during the process, is that there's room for us expanding our team and possible mentorship in growing with more, women in the industry. So we're looking forward to the future.
I just want to touch base on that, being a woman in let's demanding and often a male dominated field, like have you find that placed a lot of unique challenges, and like how do you kind of overcome them together?
I think in a way, we use it to our advantage too.
Mhm.
So the relationships that we've created, like our team, they're second to none. Everyone respects us. There's a lot of mutual respect. Treat our team great. They treat us great. But in the beginning, people are like, oh, maybe they don't understand this, and we really do. So you can use it to your advantage sometimes in that way. But I think overall, it's nice to pleasantly surprise people as well. So we have a lot of mansplaining happening sometimes,
Yeah.
and they'll be like, you have to do your island this way. This is the only way to do it. Oh, this kitchen's too small. Why would you bother? Oh, this. And then in the end, when they see it, they're like, oh. And then we see them do the same thing for somebody else. So it's like teaching people.
Hmm. You guys, you both run successful businesses as as realtors and border city living, which often can mean making tough decisions. What has been, for each of you, the toughest business decision that you've had to make, and how would you say it impacted your growth?
What do you think, Steph? Yeah, like toughest decision. I mean, it's always difficult to move on from people in your team. We give people a chance, but we move so quickly that if people don't show up or they don't do what they say they're going to do, we've learned to identify that pretty quickly. And that's something that Steph and I have always, I guess, put in the core of our business, is like doing what you say you're going to do. And even sometimes to our detriment, we're like, we can flip this house in 8 weeks, which might mean you don't see your friends and family for 2 months, but
Mhm.
it's kind of sticking to what you say, and obviously throws things at you and you have to roll with the punches. But in general, I think just not being too nice
Hmm.
is something that we've had to learn, where I'm sure right? Like the female thing, men can be tough, women, they don't, people don't like it. But in the end, we just have a project to get done or a house to sell, and we just have to do what we need to do. And sometimes it means we've got to move on from people.
And I think in our real estate business, we're often met with a lot of challenges. And so we've just, through our experience, learned to grow and adapt. And adaptability is huge, especially when you're dealing with a market like the real estate market as well. So we've gotten really good at adapting and facing challenges, and helping people like resolve and problem solve is huge for us.
Mm-hmm. No, tough, thick skin, right? Um, So yeah, I'm kind of more on like house flipping. We kind of see on the episode, many people dream of renovating homes, but fear unexpected issues like budget overruns, as we saw on the episode. So what advice would you give to first time renovators about, let's say, managing risk and just kind of keeping stress under control in times like that?
Well, I think it's like keeping calm is especially if you are running a team is so important. As soon as people start freaking out, it costs more, everybody's stressed, and it's no fun anymore. So really it is about keeping calm and realizing there's a way to get everything done. So the thing too is when you're trying to flip fast, often it does cost more money. So if you have a project, like let's say maybe it's something you're living in, then you just slow down a little bit, take a little bit more time to source materials, wait till things go on sale. It's this whole feeling that everything has to be done in 2 months or it's a failure. That's not necessarily true depending on what you do. If you do it for a living like us, we kind of have to get it done because we're already on to the next project. But essentially, just like Steph was saying, adapting, and sometimes you don't get to do the sexy design thing that you wanted because you have to change the electrical and it's no fun, but in the end you can bring that stuff in with staging or other character, and you need to leave a contingency plan. Don't flip a house with your last $5.
I think too, also like the part that I love about design and these construction projects is that you can have an idea in the beginning, and it's such a beautiful process, like to watch either that idea come to fruition or see how you have to adapt because something came up that you didn't expect. So it's just like, we've said this before, it's kind of like art. You don't know exactly what the end result is going to be because of all of the different things that could come up, and roadblocks and budget issues. So
Yeah, and you
it's,
can't be too attached to the outcome.
yeah.
Exactly. It might change. So you have this idea, oh, I must make this house look like this one I saw on Instagram or Pinterest. That's when you can kind of get yourself stuck because
Mhm.
sometimes you're fighting against the look of a house too. And that's another thing I'd say is one of our biggest tips is it's not about emulating a look. Let's say, oh, modern is very in right now. If you take a heritage home and you try to make it look like a modern beach house, you're going to spend 3 times as much money. If you let the house show you what it wants to be and you lean into the character of the house, you can often get things done for like half as much.
No, thanks for sharing that. I feel like a lot of people, that's like the one thing, it's like a lot of stress and that can get into a lot of people. So, I think, like you said, not focusing too much on the outcome. That's really great. So, what I just want, like, what do you guys hope, viewers take away from watching your journey, on Hoarder House Flippers this season? Like, is there any like specific messages that you want to convey?
For me, I think it's that you can live in a smaller city and make it cool.
Mhm.
People think like to have a cool house, you have to live in Toronto or you have to live in these big cities. So that's kind of how we got into it too, is we said, all right, we're moving back to Windsor from these big cities. We want to live in a great house that represents us. They weren't on the market, so we had to start making them. So
Mhm.
it's really just encouraging people, if you have a dream of wanting to live in a certain type of home or property or style, you can make it yourself. Or you can hire somebody to help you, but you don't have to settle for like ordinary just because you live in a mid-sized city.
Also, we often hear the word like luxury, and for us, we try to show people that you don't have to live in a mansion to feel like you have a luxurious home. It can be a small bungalow that you're putting natural materials into, that you're, feeling at home in, and just really elevating what you have. It doesn't always have to be the biggest house on the block.
I love that you guys have, hit into the Windsor market because yeah, everyone's kind of moving away from the big city anyway. So it's really cool that, people can see that. So my final question is, so we're all about going the extra mile. So what does going the extra mile mean to you as entrepreneurs, and how do you embody that philosophy on your day to day?
I love that you do that because we do that too. I feel like that could be one of our mottos in our business. We don't stop until we get it right, and whether it's in a flip or with our clients, we always feel like we want people to be taken care of. And sometimes that means we're repainting a room, or we're, staying up till 1 a.m. to perfect something on our website, because for us, you don't get a second chance at first impressions, right? So we're always going that extra mile, like yourself.
And it might even be like, oh gosh, we have the perfect pillows for this couch. They're the perfect color, but they're on the other side of town. It's like, no, we have to go get them because it's like something in our brain that we have to see, but it's a reflection of us as people. And I think it's because we actually enjoy what we do as well. It's not drudgery. We're like, oh gosh, we can't wait to look at this done. And it's fun and it's creative. And we don't want to just do it halfway.
No, I love that. I want to just say, you guys are, I really admire, female entrepreneurs, especially anyone that goes the extra mile and just, giving it all and doing so many wonderful things. And, you guys have created such great success. So, I'm excited for everyone to watch the show tonight. And, thank you guys for your time.